Oh yes, it is finally time for me to do a review of Star Wars Battlefront, and this is a game that is published by EA and developed by DICE. And you've already heard one of my favorite parts of the game, which is the sound. The soundtrack on this game is amazing, of course, because it's Star Wars. But let's take a look at the game modes. You can already see here I'm cycling through the single-player content because, honestly, this is all you get. There's no single-player campaign, which, yeah, I know, EA already talked about that right from the beginning. There's going to be no single-player campaign, which just blows my mind completely because how do you have a Star Wars license, EA, and not make a campaign in this game? Especially with how beautiful the graphics are in this game. They're just so crazily beautifully done in this game. Here's the multiplayer, which is basically the whole game. You have modes like Walker Assault, which is super fun, Supremacy, which is kind of like Rush in Battlefield. Then you have Heroes versus Villains, Hero Hunt, Droid Run, things like that. And of course, look, there's some DLC that I don't have, which there's a lot of DLC in this game, which also sucks. Matter of fact, if you actually wanted to purchase the entire edition, the Ultimate Edition, it's $120, which gives you everything. Thankfully, I didn't pay for this game. I actually didn't even buy this game. I am playing it on EA Access Trial. So, let me show you some of the things I don't like about this game, because, quite frankly, I've already talked about the things I like, which is the impressive graphics in this game alone, as well as the soundtrack. First and foremost, there is the character customization, or really a lack thereof. But first, let's talk about the star cards and how those work. So you have star cards. These are cards you'll unlock throughout the progress of the game when you get higher ranks, etc. You have credits you can use to unlock star cards. These star cards are kind of cool, but what sucks about it is you don't get to set up multiple classes. Matter of fact, there are no classes in this game, which is kind of odd considering this is made by DICE, who have also created the very popular Battlefield series, which allows you to create classes. I was kind of hoping you'd be able to create more than one hand with 3 cards apiece, but unfortunately, this game only allows you to have one hand. That's it. Meaning that if you want to go into a different game mode with a different hand, you have to come back here and create a whole new hand again. That is ridiculous. You should not have to do that, especially when games like Call of Duty and Battlefield allow you to have multiple classes. So you can't do that. Here's the weapons. There's only 11 of them. That's it. That gun in particular, the DL-44, most powerful OP as heck gun in the entire game, which allows you to basically kill people in like 2-3 shots. I've seen it before. Which also does almost similar damage to the T-21, which kind of looks the same. Anyway, there's only 11 guns. Yeah. Now let's talk about the character customization, or how there isn't any. So, unlike Battlefield, also made by DICE again, and games like Call of Duty where you can create a character and customize them, here you have to choose from a pre-made character. So you can't have like a weave on one character and then have a goatee on another or things like that. Nope. You have to choose from the pre-made characters. This is something I also don't understand for a Star Wars game, is why would they not let you create your own rebel or create your own person from the an Imperial person? That would have been cool, like to customize your own Stormtrooper. And if you want to play any of the other character races, like a Twi'lek or Rodian or Sullustan or things like that, you don't get to play as those until you reach at least rank 40. That is outrageously ridiculous. But anyway, moving right on. Then you have these stupid things called emotes, which, yeah, people use those in games nowadays, right? So now I'm going to show you this stupid mode called Diorama, which is another waste of time that DICE did. I mean, you unlock these little figures in your giant diorama after completing certain things, like getting a certain amount of headshots, or, you know, collecting certain things in the game, or what have you. Sure, it kind of looks cool, but really that's it, is looks. Matter of fact, DICE did such a great job on making this game look good that it's pretty much, really, besides the soundtrack, the only thing this game has going for it. What makes me mad and ticks me off as a gamer is that they spent time on this, but yet they couldn't make, once again, a single-player campaign, which I don't understand. Matter of fact, I don't get how, of all the licenses and franchises you could have licensed, how you cannot have a Star Wars campaign when one of the most anticipated movies of the past 2 years is coming out in about 3 weeks. How do you not have a campaign? I just don't get it. Not only that, but there are so many mini cutscenes in this game that it's like a teaser of what you could have had. But anyway, I could talk on and on and on about what this game doesn't have. Matter of fact, let me continue to talk about what this game doesn't have. So once again, there's this diorama mode is just pathetic. But let's just get right into gameplay. I want to show you guys how the game works. We're gonna play. This is called Supremacy, which is kind of like Rush. You basically have to have control points and things like that, and you can already see how incredible the game looks. I mean, the explosions. Look at that X-wing just flying right over my head there. Things like that. The game looks amazing. However, what I don't like is I don't like the gunplay. There's really no recoil, which I guess there isn't any recoil in a blaster heat-based gun. Because it does make aiming on enemies a little easy, unless of course they're running and things like that. And you can, it's pretty easy to shoot people from far away, which I wasn't very impressed with either. Not only that, but I can't stand the spawns in this game. I mean, as soon as you spawn, there's about 4 or 5 guys around you. The spawns are really not fair, in my opinion. Also, you see me taking down an AT-ST here, or attempting to, or, well, there it goes. That's the other thing I want to talk about, is the vehicles in this game. Now, for those of you who are familiar with Battlefield, once again, made by DICE, same freaking developers this game, is you know that in Battlefield, you are able to pilot helicopters and jets and tanks and etc., right? Right from the very beginning, they almost always spawn, or if a helicopter gets blown up, or a jet crashes, or what have you, they always respawn after a set amount of time. Well, in Battlefront, it's kind of hard sometimes for me to keep the two, try to remember the two, which is which. But in Battlefront, Star Wars Battlefront, this game requires you to find power-ups. Are these power-ups in the exact same spot? Not really, because it's hard to tell where they are. Not only that, but there is no freaking map. This game does not give you a map of the locations in the game. Like, see, that's all you get when you spawn. Now, if you're familiar with Battlefield, once again, made by DICE, you get a map. It tells you where you can spawn at. It tells you where your partner is at all times. They do have partner spawns on here, which is kind of like squad spawning on Battlefield. But you don't know where your partner's at. There's no map to see where they are. The only map you get is the one on the bottom left corner of the screen here. But that's it. That is all. Now, I know a lot of you guys are thinking, well, so is this game fun? Yeah, it can be it's a pretty fun game. I mean, when you play it for the first time, you sit there and you're like, I did, and like I'm sure everybody else does who's a big Star Wars fan like me, and you kind of just sit there and take in the scenery and how beautiful this game looks, and the sound is amazing. But after playing it maybe about 6 or 7 times, that nostalgia and the feel of the game, it just kind of starts to wear off, and that's what I don't like about this game, is that, yeah, it has a ton of multiplayer modes, which really you're only going to be playing probably about 3 of them, which in my case would be Walker Assault, Supremacy, and maybe Fighter Squadron, which I think Fighter Squadron is kind of cool. But really, that is it. And even when you go to try to find people to play with in games like in matches like Hero Hunt or Droid Run, things like that, it takes a long time to try to find somebody in those matches because everybody's playing the 3 that I mentioned. So my question for EA and DICE is this: why did you guys have to include like freaking 20,000 game variant types when you knew that you were gonna this game was really only going to be catered towards about 3 or 4. I mean, I know you're trying to have variants and stuff like that, but once again, I would have much rather had them, you know, have 3 really good multiplayer game types, or even 4 to have a good even number. And then once again, have an incredible single-player campaign. I mean, look at this game. Look at it. And look how good it sounds. And just, oh, man. I just really wish they made a single-player campaign on this game. Honestly, in my opinion, I feel like the old Star Wars Battlefront games, like 2 and the first one, actually are better than this game because they did have campaign modes and things like that. I mean, the only thing you get single-player-wise is 3 different game types. You get a training, which that doesn't count, and you get 2 other game types, like a horde mode and things like that. So all in all, is this game good? Yeah, it's good, but it's good enough to rent. I really don't recommend buying this game. Go to your Redbox, give it a rent. Be sure to check it out. Thanks for watching this video, and see ya.